This year, I did not read a lot of books. I read very few of them. I read like just 17 out of what I planned for like 50 at least. I just could not even reach 20, the milestone of 20. I just was able to just finish like 17 books this year, and that kind of makes me feel bad. But again, I did not have time, and the transition from school to college, again, it is something which was difficult. So I kind of got interested in reading more non-fiction books, but then again, I did not get a lot of time to read books. So in the last 6 months, I'll say I have read only 4 or 5 books, and that makes like 17 books this year. Still, I'm on a very comfortable position. I read last year, I read like 76 books out of 50 or 25 what I planned to be. But this year, I read 17 books, which I feel was enough, very enough. And I am on a good position to tell you 5 books that I absolutely loved in 2022. And you should definitely check out those books. Now, the best thing is the detailed review for every book which I'm going to recommend in this video is already there on my YouTube channel, Booksfinity. So, of course, when I'll go on telling about each and every book, I'll just go on a very short explanation, tell you the book's name, and you will find the review of that book on this channel. Here, I started by Do Epic Shit, and the last book I have read was The Prisoners of Geography, which was I think the last book review on this channel was on that book. So let's quickly pick up 5 books. It's not ranked in any order, so don't quote me that why I have said this name before. So it's just random selection, and I would love you people to check them out. The first book is a political book, but it is a life story of Mr. Barack Obama. The Promised Land, A Promised Land, basically. It's a massive book. It's like 760 pages long. It's massive. And the font is also very small. So like not very small that it's not readable, but it is readable, but readable small. And it's a massive book. It is inspiring, it is emotional, and it is a very compelling journey where Barack Obama is explaining every particular moment of his life, from the moment he's buying books in bookstore when he was a little child, to the moment he was selected as the first president, basically first black president of United States of America, and how he goes on to become one of the most successful leaders in the world history. What makes this book extraordinary would be his Ivy-styled writing. He has passed out from Ivy College. He's a lawyer. The author, basically, it's known that the author's choice of words makes the book interesting, and that's exactly what this book talks about. It's a whole autobiography of President Barack Obama, and guess what? There's another part of A Promised Land which will be released later on. But this is just volume 1, and it's massive. It's pretty massive, but it will be, it is one of the most lovable autobiographies, and I loved it a lot. Definitely check out Promised Land by Barack Obama. The second book is a very nostalgic yet a classic Murakami book, and if you have been following me, you must be knowing that I'm going to talk about Norwegian Wood, because that's one of the most discussed books of 2022, which I have discussed with my friends. It is a depiction of depression, loss, suicide, sense of grief, everything, and the writing style makes it wonderful. Once again, it's basically there's an extra touch of magical realism. And if you know about classic Murakami's, there are talking cats, there are monsters, there are a lot of things which Murakami includes, but this book, there's nothing like that. It's a normal story, but Murakami gives it in that manner where it is one of the most loved books, and it can give you massive heartbreaks, but it is very wonderful at the same time. It is a story which I'll recommend that every youth who is going for a transition from school life to college or are in college should definitely check out Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. Third read is basically a must-read historical fiction. Again, this book is again known for its writing style by Daniel Manson. It's a book called The Winter Soldier, and one of the most loved books, I would say, for me. So it's basically set in World War II. It's loosely inspired, I would say, from World War II, and it is mostly imaginative. It's fictitious. It's a story about a young medical student, Lucius, who is the main character and is taught to amputate limbs by Sister Margaret, and she is also a nurse. So a lot of doctors of that area have left, and there's just Lucius left and Sister Margaret. So both of them are basically serving in a World War situation. Basically, it's a World War II, and the story is beautiful, very very terrific read, and everything is going very simple until the Winter Soldier arrives, and now that's exactly where the spoiler session starts, and I won't give you spoilers. So the Winter Soldier is a must-read book, mainly because of its writing style, the way he has written. Daniel Mason has another book which I haven't checked out but have heard a lot about that book, and it is The Piano Tuner. I look forward to reading it in 2023, hopefully. Number 4 is The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Liftery. It's a story of a blind mother and a husband who still keeps the hope of survival in their city, Aleppo, which is in Syria. So now you know Syria is a place where there were bombings and there was the Syrian civil war, the ISIS, everything. And the only way I got to this book was through Khalid Hosseini. Khalid Hosseini is my favorite writer, and one of my favorite writers, of course. And when I was researching about the books like The Kite Runner, I came across the book of Christy Leftery, which is The Beekeeper of Aleppo. It is a story of Nouri and Afra who plan to escape their country, Syria. They live in a very simple life until the unthinkable happens, and I'm sure you know what the unthinkable is: the invasion of Syria, and how everything goes wrong after that. So they undertake basically a survival trip to Europe, and that is a beautifully written book by Christy Leftery. You should definitely check that book out. If you haven't read it, I'm guessing most of the readers would have read The Beekeeper of Aleppo, but it is massively heartbreaking and wonderful at the same time. If the book is The Maps That Tell You Everything, 10 Maps That Will Tell You Everything. It is Prisoners of Geography by Tim Marshall, and that is a book review which I've given recently, so I won't talk a lot about it in this video. So Prisoners of Geography is the basic foundation to geopolitics. Anyone who's interested in geopolitics, wants to know more about it, can basically start from this particular book, that is The Prisoners of Geography. So one such quote in this book was the prediction of Russian war on Ukraine, and that happened earlier this year. So this book was released in way back, maybe 2017 or 18, and this book actually predicted the invasion of Russia on Ukraine, and it happened earlier this year. So these are the list of 5 books that if you haven't read, you should definitely check out. These are the 5 books. The links are there in the description box below. The detailed reviews are also there on my YouTube channel. You can get the book reviews of all these books which I have mentioned. And you should definitely check these books out. If you haven't read it, do check them out in 2023. So that's it from the video, and we have some new plans for next year in 2023. I'm planning to come up with Hindi episodes also. So I'll definitely require your inputs about Hindi episodes, how it would go on, and how basically what variations I can bring on this channel. This year I tested out vlogs, I tested out videos which were not very relevant to books. But we'll try each and everything out on this channel because, of course, creativity. We are creative. That's it from the video. We'll meet very soon. Until then, bye bye.